I will start my presentation with a brief discussion about the other assessments. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with general description of the other assessment. While we do the other assessment, I'm sorry I didn't attend the yesterday sessions. I was away. That's the reason I just briefly discuss the purpose of the other assessments, how they are done, their pros and cons. Then I will talk about the importance of other assessments at the cannabis facilities because of the same company for each different locations. The emissions are really different, and that's the reason I decided to talk about the importance of other assessment at the cannabis facilities. Then I will talk briefly about the methods for the controls for the cannabis, and because we did extensive studies for the past few years at the cannabis facilities, different cannabis facilities, we have some data, and I will talk about the overall efficiencies of the system they use at the facilities without naming them or without giving them the details. Then I will enter my presentation with some conclusions. What's the purpose of the other assessments? I'm pretty sure that all the people know that the other assessments are basically done just to confirm and verify the complaints. People are complaining and basically to verify the complaints. In Ontario, we have the Odor guideline, and then if it's put in the permit, then the other assessment needs to be done, and the source testing needs to be done together with the spectrum modeling to predict the outside concentrations. That's the reason we need to do the other assessment as well. Other assessments are also done to predict the long-term or short-term exposure in the area, to run the potential of the sources in order to control them. Sometimes when the facility is not built yet, other assessments are done to determine the background of the concentrations. If the facility would like to expand, then again, the other assessments are recommended to do to predict what would be the other level. Would they expand and change the process, etc. There are different categories for other assessments. Other assessments basically are source testing at the source, and then the emissions are used for the spectrum modeling to predict the outside concentrations. Also part of the other assessments, especially in Ontario, ministry allows to collect the samples at the sensitive receptor and do the other evaluation of the collected samples at the sensitive receptors. There might be a combination of the source testing and ambient assessment just to do the full scale assessments. The efficiency tests are very common for any other control systems. Then if they will be in place or if they're in place to determine what's the real other efficiency or the contaminant efficiency for the specific other control system. I really don't want to go with the other sampling procedures, but basically it's collection of the samples at the source, other evaluation according to the in Ontario is number 6. Then we come up with the emission rates, and the emission rates are usually used to the model to predict the outside of the concentrations, and two different models approved are not for the others. Have to follow the different, depends on the jurisdiction, you have to follow the standards. Then in Ontario, as I said, it's only 6. Then I would like to go to the cannabis facility. Based on the recent studies at different facilities discovered that the emissions from the cannabis facility depends on the strain, depends on how the building is designed, depends on the temperature, humidity, different factors. That's the reason that if a facility is thinking about putting any control system, I really recommend to do the efficiency test on the odor control system. But before doing the efficiency test on the odor control system, I think the most important thing is to do the full odor assessment of the facility, just to run the sources and to come up with a methodology to control the odors from the government sources of the facilities. And then might vary depends on the facility, different factors. Might affect the regulations. What's the efficiency test? Efficiency test is very simple. It's just a collection of the samples that you have an outlet and based on the oil concentration, or you can do the efficiency test for the specific compounds and based on their concentrations and calculations. Then in cannabis operation, we discovered that the main oil sources are the drying process. But it depends also on the strain, on the type, how you dry that, if you just hang it upside down, or just put it in trays. If there's in the middle of the drying process or the beginning of the process, different factors affect the different affect the odor releases. The harvesting is the main odor source, and the greenhouses depends which plants they have. Mature plants during the transport, and they try to just move the plants. The emissions from the transporting mature plants, they double if there are others there, then we discover that. For the mature plants, the emissions from the mature plants in the roads, the emissions were almost 20 times of emissions from the mid-size plants. Also, there are some emissions from the waste disposal, but again, it depends on what they dispose, what kind of cannabis they dispose, how they dispose, and different factors. How people describe the cannabis odor, basically, they describe most of the time as like sun, and that's not pleasant smell. Pungent, sometimes it's like citrus, it's like grapefruit, orange. Sometimes people are saying that it's eye irritation. Recently, when I did the testing at one of the cannabis facility, people were complaining about the actual irritation of the eye. Then we discovered that they were exposed to the high concentrations of odor for a long time. As I said, the concentration might vary from greenhouse to the greenhouse, and different strains of the cannabis, and that's the reason you have to take into consideration also the strains of the cannabis. Based on the literature, Rice and Collier published the paper characterizing the smell of marijuana by odor impact on molecular compounds and application of and systematic analysis. Then there's a list of the chemicals they discovered, but obviously there are more chemicals coming out of the headspace of the plant. So odor control approaches, I think, 2 minutes away. Then I really would like to go to what they are using right now, carbon units, we tested carbon units, filters, listening agents, UV systems, ozonation, hot plasma system being tested, wet scrubbers being tested for biofiltration. then you can see the odor removal efficiencies. For the filters installed in labs, depending on the process and the type of the filters, if they are thinner or flatter or thicker, but it was up to 60% efficient, but it decreased over time, and the time was 5 to 7 days. For freestanding carbons, if they're used in the rooms, they are okay, but if you are 10 meters from that means the efficiency drops. For the listing system, for the greenhouses, again, depends on the method of applications, types of listing ranges, based on our results, it was up to 50% reduction. UV systems, they got 20%, might be higher because of the lamps you put, but recently I discovered so much ozone that I don't believe that we need basically emit so much ozone. Plasma